Welcome back to Herbal Product Technology and Regulatory Science. This is a week 10 and we are going to start with regulations for herbal on nationally and internationally. What is the status? This unit will be divided in a different regulations. For the today's session, it will be nutraceutical and dietary supplements. What is the role of that into the herbal drug technology, food laws and standards in India, and Food Safety and Standards Act. Before going into the nutraceutical and dietary supplement, let's put a light on what is nutraceutical. Nutraceutical is something which will have nutritional and then something of a pharmacological activity, which also known as its therapeutic activity. But the products are generally taken for the health management, and such products are known as the nutraceuticals. Dietary supplements are just a supplement for the nutritional value. They may or may not have a pharmacological or therapeutic activity. Nutraceuticals and dietary supplements occupy a unique position between foods and medicine, requiring specific regulatory oversight. These products are consumed for health benefit beyond basic nutrition such as disease prevention, health maintenance and wellness promotion. Regulatory framework ensures product safety, quality and efficacy of such product and truthfulness about the labeling of such products. In history, it has been seen that many such products will have a lot of labels claim, but they do not get a truthful and justifiable for such claims. For that, the regulation become a strict backbone. Different countries follow different regulatory approaches depending on their food and drug laws. India and America are the two countries will have a very basic backbone for such regulations. India and USA have distinct but structured system governing nutraceutical and dietary supplements. Understanding this regulation is essential for manufacturers, researchers, healthcare professionals and regulator to ensure compliance and public safety. What are the objectives for nutraceutical regulations? To understand the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, that is the PFA, and its role in controlling food quality. As I mentioned, nutraceutical is mainly given for the nutritional as well as a pharmaceutical purpose. That is why it also covers this Food Adulteration Act. To study Indian regulatory orders such as FPO, the Fruit Product Order, MPO, Meat Product Order, BIS, Bureau of Indian Standard and Agmark standards. To explain the significance of hazard analysis and critical control points system which is related to the food and herbal products. To develop awareness about harmonization of food laws and consumer safety measures. Food laws and standards. Food laws and standards provide a structured framework to ensure food safety, quality and uniformity. Legal standards are established by government authorities and are mandatory for compliance. Food is a basic component of a life, and that is why we need to have a proper standards to regulate their quality. After independence, it was observed that the food is getting adulterated in many places because it was a basic need of the people. And then it is observed that if we do not have a particular act or regulation, then this adulteration cannot be controlled. Companies or voluntary standards are set by industries to enhance consumer trust and brand image. Also, industry standards are developed collectively by industry group to maintain quality benchmark. So, it will have a healthy competition between the industries. Consumer or grade standard focus on consumer expectation and experience based requirements. And finally, together these standards protect consumer and support fair trade practices in food industry. Let's begin with the Indian Standard Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. As I mentioned, after independence, it was observed that the food is getting adulterated very frequently for getting profit out of it. And it was a daily consumption was very high, this adulteration was overlooked. But those adulterated products was giving a health consequences to the population of India. So that the government have established the act called Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. The Prevention of Food Adulteration Act PFA was established in 1954 and came into force in 1955. It prohibits manufacture, sale and distribution of adulterated and misbranded food. The act also addressed food contamination with the toxic substances. It was amended in 1964 and 1976, which strengthened this act against the food adulteration experimentations. The Food Health Authority operates at the state level under the Director of Public Health, which gives them a power to inspect facilities and also take a preventive action to avoid such cases. Local health authorities are appointed in the cities and village places for effective implementation of the monitoring of this act. Next is Indian Standards for Food Product Order FPO. It was seen that India was having a biggest export facility and capacity for fruit product, but outside Indian territory these products was not having a much of a acceptance because lack of a standardized procedure as well as a criteria. This act we have put up the regulations to maintain the quality by finding out the parameters to assess the specification, and then it also help to give the recognition for the product outside Indian territory. The Fruit Product Order was introduced in 1946 by the Government of India. It was introduced before the independence by the Britishers. It prescribed minimum quality standards for fruit and vegetable products. FPO regulates processing facility, hygiene and manufacturing conditions for all the industries who deal with the fruits and vegetable products. Up till now, over the 5,000 processing units are registered under the FPO across India. Installed processing capacity increased significantly between 1993 and 1999. This was the era where the globalization was on its top and India was producing a lot of food product which are depend on the fruits and vegetable and exporting to the different countries. FPO ensure consumer safety and promotes standardized production practices. That was the main aim for introducing FPO. The next is Indian Standards Meat Product Order MPO. Similar like fruit and vegetable products, India was also a production house for the meat product. The different cattle, chicken or the meat from the other animals was the preference from on the list of a market. The India was delivering many such countries these products, and again the standards need to be put up for such products. The Meat Product Order MPO was derived and delivered in 1973 and was issued under the Essential Commodities Act initially by 1955. It focuses on detecting and destroying meat from diseased animal. This is the major area of a concern when such product was exported outside Indian territory. Many of the animal who are already suffering with the viral diseases, such product can spill over those infection outside the country. Hence, there was a proper regulations to control such cases. It ensures hygienic preparation, handling and processing of a meat product. In India, there was a plenty of slaughterhouses which was not regulated properly and the data was not unified. This act made it possible to control the slaughterhouses and their activities, prohibit use of harmful substances in meat product. Many of the time, for the increasing shelf life of such meat product, they used to put different agents which may be act as a toxicant in a further processing. Hence, this act also give the guidelines for maintaining quality by removing such toxic preservative. It also mandates inspection of meat before sale to ensure wholesomeness of the product. They also put up the parameters for maintaining the quality and specifying it in its specification. Under this act, it also regulates slaughterhouses, practices under them and then selection of the disease free animals. Bureau of Indian Standards (BIS). BIS was established in 1947 and became a statutory body under the BIS Act 1986. It represents industry, consumer, research institutes and government bodies. The BIS was mainly introduced to have a harmonization of standards in entire country so that all will have a same standards throughout the country. BIS is responsible for formulation of national standards. It also takes care of the regional variations in the products and based on that they establish the standards. For example, the Avla which is produced in South India and Avla which produced in North India will have a drastic difference in the quality, in their physical properties and in their nutritional value as well. So that they should have a different standards. This kind of a cases was considered while putting up the standards by BIS. It also provides product certification, quality management and eco-mark certification in such products. It operates laboratories for testing, calibration and quality assessment, testing of the products, calibration of the instruments which are used for the testing of such product. For example, the weighing balances and the weights which are used for the measurement. This weighing balances and the weights need to be calibrated as per the procedure or as per the facility provided by BIS. Conduct a training, awareness programs and consumer protection initiative under the BIS, which was essential and understood by the government bodies. Agmark. India is known as an agricultural country. It was government who took up a step ahead to maintain the quality in agricultural product line. Agmark was introduced under the Agricultural Produce Grading and Marketing Act 1937. This is again the act was first time established in British government and then it was carried by the newly formed Indian government after the independence. But later on they have understood that it need changes and modifications was amended later on. It certifies agricultural product based on quality parameters. Also quality assessment includes size, variety, weight, color, moisture and fat content in such product. These are became a marker parameters for all the agricultural products. Products are graded as special, good, fair or ordinary so that based on the requirement such product can be delivered to the different countries. And it also helps the producer or a farmer to put up the market price for such product. Authorized officers can inspect premises and seize substandard product, because agriculture product need a proper storage condition, and if they are not stored properly, then such product quality goes in a degradation, and such substandard products cannot be sold outside Indian territory. Hence, the regular inspection under this act was mandatory and the officials was given authority to inspect such facilities. Agmark enhances consumer confidence in agricultural and food product. This also includes the marine products and fishery products, which is the biggest market for the outside world. Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. The Prevention of Food Adulteration Act was already established, but still the Act of Food Safety and Standard was a need. People understood that every time the adulteration is not the toxic. Sometimes some of the food components also become a toxic if they are not maintained at a given condition, and hence it was required to have a proper guidelines, and those guidelines were put up by this act. The Food Safety and Standard Act FSSA was delivered in 2006. It consolidates 8 food laws, establishes the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. It is based on Codex Alimentarius and International Regulatory Principle. Codex Alimentarius is a book of a code which is governed by the international regulatory bodies like US FDA, and they have given the list of a codes which need to be followed for the food product, which should have a proper quality. It also regulates nutraceutical, functional foods and dietary supplement. Functional food is that segment where the food product will have a something functional activity. For example, a sports food or a maternity food, where the food is given to the patient or the person for particular function. The Chapter 4, Article 22 under this Act specifically addresses these products, ensures the uniform enforcement throughout states and local authorities. Now, we will see what are the benefits and challenges of all these acts. It brings unification of multiple food laws, improves regulatory harmonization inside the country. Alignment with the international standards supports the global trade. Science-based standard enhance product safety and innovation. It also gives a boost to the new research products. Clarifies regulations for novel and proprietary foods. Helps reduce corruption and regulatory ambiguity. And finally, challenges include broad government intervention and strict product control. Thank you.